Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out True Off My Chest. Story 1. I'm ugly. Several years ago when the Me Too movement started, every woman I know on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram was posting a number meta story about a time she had been either sexually assaulted or sexually harassed. But I didn't have a story, because neither of those things had ever happened to me. And I definitely don't want to make light of other people's experiences, but I felt bad that I'm apparently so unattractive that I can't even get a single catcall. I know that for women who deal with stuff like this all the time, it's stressful, annoying, and scary. But still part of me feels jealous, because at least it means they are good looking. In high school, I never had any dates. Once, when there was a dance coming up, I overheard a guy I liked telling someone that he was coming to the dance without a date. I mentioned this to my friend who said, "Why are you so excited? It's not like he would ever dance with you." When the dance happened, he didn't ask me to dance, and I didn't ask him, being an unpopular nerd who knew that my friend was right. I once posted some pictures on one of the Rate Me subreddits. I don't remember which one, I just remember seeing some. Story 2. I accidentally missed while pissing into a water bottle in the back seat of my car as I was sobbing about being heartbroken. Last night, I, 28F, was planning to stay over the apartment of the guy I was dating, so I drove to a pregame that was close to his apartment. At the pregame, I found out that another woman there was also planning to see him at the bar we were going to, and also was planning on staying over his place. I was absolutely devastated and decided to hammer down some shots. We ended up sending him a selfie of us together, and then saw him out at a nearby bar. The coward of course said nothing, and I tried my best to look happy despite wanting to yeet myself into oncoming traffic. Anyways, at the end of the night I leave and realize I have nowhere to go. I'm piss drunk, and decide to just walk back to my car. I realized that I hadn't peed all night and was in a suspicious area, so I decided to try my luck and pee in 16 ounces Deer Park water bottle. As you can imagine, it was quite hard and I got pee everywhere. I was already crying, so when I missed, it made me cry even harder. I fully had a breakdown while pantsless and holding a warm bottle of urine in the back of my car at 3 a.m. For obvious reasons, this isn't something I can share with anyone as it was a true low point in my life. Story 3. My mom sexually assaulted my dad and no one is talking about it. I was an accident, birth control didn't work, and my brother was planned. For my 2 younger sisters my mom wanted them but my dad didn't. My dad thought having a girl and a boy was perfect, but my mom felt that there were still kids in heaven that she needed to have, so she lied to my dad about being on birth control. And then there comes my little sister, 12. That almost caused my parents' divorce because of it. 3 years later my mom still felt that she had more kids that needed her, so lied to my dad and there comes along my other little sister, 9, and once again my dad threatened divorce. 9 years later my mom jokes about it, but now that I'm 18 and actually see how messed up it was of my mom to do that to my dad and how she messed up me and my brother's chance at a comfortable life makes me sick. Why is no one talking about she literally sexually assaulted my dad all because she had a feeling? This is why I hate religion. Edit. I don't hate all religions, I just hate Mormons. Sorry for saying that. Edit. Alright peeps, didn't think this post would get so much attention but it did. Thank you to everyone who has commented and been helpful to me. I'm trying to get to every comment but there's so many, so I'm sorry if I miss yours. I'm not trying to. Questions asked a lot. Why didn't your dad get a vasectomy? He wanted one after my brother but that wasn't an option at the time due to money. After my sister because of the medical bills, she was born 3 months early, and still wasn't an option. And my last sister we were still fighting the medical bills. The last thing on my dad's mind was a vasectomy. Why would your dad trust your mom? Honestly I have no idea. I don't even fully trust her myself. Why wouldn't your dad leave or get a divorce? Because my dad doesn't believe in divorce. I don't know why he wouldn't, probably financially better off, but he didn't. And to everyone asking why didn't he get a vasectomy? I don't think you should be asking that. Why should my dad get something because of a trust in his partner? He wanted one but it wasn't an option at the time. Story 4. Dumb butt move. I screwed up pretty big time and now I'm having to eat a big serving of humble pie, just in time for Thanksgiving. I originally posted about this in a bipolar subreddit. I've been kinda a vagabond for the last 15 years. Let's just say that God's had a lot of learning for me to do and I'm finally learning the lessons. Anyway, I lived with friends, family, and at various shelters after what Miss Austen would have called a scandalously patched up marriage, that ended in me getting my crap rocked repeatedly. Fast forward and I'm nearly a year divorced. I'm living with my formerly estranged and completely asinine father. I'm a Christian struggling to forgive and see his good after several comorbid mental health diagnoses of my own. Now it's the holiday season, I'm hiding the fact that I can't work from said dad who bought me an older car while I was manic. He fully believes that anyone who has a mental illness is being lied to by their doc, and that I'm capable of working. I literally have a laundry list of mental illnesses. My dumb self has just been too proud to admit it. I'm also planning on leaving for a mental health program that will help me get on Social Security and house and feed me. God, I did a doozy this time. Story 5. School is the bane of my existence. School is the bane of my existence. I hate having to wake up incredibly early to go to a place where I will spend 7 hours of my day doing work that feels impossible for me to do, barely learning anything because the school system is based off of remembering and memory, having to deal with people, teachers, and friends that don't really care about me as much as I care about them, every single weekday for 180 days every single year. It doesn't help when I go on social media and I realize that there are people out there just enjoying their life while I'm stuck in here dealing with all of this every single day basically. Weekends feel incredibly short, summer feels like it's getting shorter every year, and during summer I always worry looking at the date knowing I have to go back soon. I might be being a little dramatic but it feels like everything is against me in school. I got separated from my friend group and got put with people that make me feel miserable every day and the school won't do much about it. The conciliators are useless, I have ADHD that I have not received medication for, and social anxiety, and even though I have explained this to my mom she is planning to make me stay after school anyways. Even she has noticed and told me, on the first day of summer break how much happier I immediately was. I also feel guilty for saying this but 2020/2021 when I was out of school personally were some of the best years of my life. I don't really like to admit it because of obvious reasons and I feel horrible and selfish whenever I do, but I cannot lie. I really do feel like I'm being dramatic here, and I apologize if I am, because other people have it much worse than me in school, but just the thought of having to go back in a week has been plaguing my mind recently. Story 6. I've been sleeping with one of my best friends and I don't think it's healthy. I, M23, met someone, F21, at a college frat party a year and a half ago. I'm a pretty shy person and wasn't really making any attempts to socialize, so it was surprising when a particularly attractive girl came running up and started talking to me. Right off the bat, I can tell she's drunk. Next thing I know, I'm grabbed by the arm and taken next door to an abandoned house to smoke weed with her and her friends. She tells me about how cute I am, but that she's pretty sure she's a lesbian. Okay. Bummer, I guess. But she still seemed like a cool person to hang out with. I got her number and we chatted a bit the next morning. She added me on Instagram a few days later and I responded by adding her on Snapchat, but neither of us initiated a conversation. School lets out and she goes back home for the summer, and I put her in the back of my mind. About 2 weeks later, I post on my Snapchat story about a concert I was going to. She swiped up on my story and mentioned that she loved one of the bands. We started talking again and this time it stuck. Throughout the summer, we texted and called pretty much every day, and we started getting flirty. About a week before school started, she texted me and told me, again, that she thought I was cool but she was almost sure she was a lesbian. Looking back, I should have let it go, but I didn't want to lose this connection I'd built with her. I convinced her to at least go on a date with me and give me a chance. She gets back into town a week later, we have the date, we're both super awkward and it sucks, and she just wants to be friends. I saw it coming a mile away, but I was definitely bummed. Afterwards, we started hanging out and becoming closer as friends. It was nice for a time, but things started getting toxic fairly quickly. We argued with each other over something at least once a week. I was condescending and she was like walking on eggshells. Not a good combination. Things eventually came to a head in December when we had one final, big blowout, and I told her that I was done with her. Radio silence after that. She goes to study abroad and we don't speak for 8 months. At first, I felt justified in my decision. She'd become a pretty big burden on my mental health and I was happy that burden wasn't there anymore. But as time went on, I began to really assess the situation and think about what got us to that point. I thought about my feelings for her and how I'd never properly moved on, and how I subconsciously blamed her for my lack of confidence. I was secretly angry with her for a long time, and it took me an even longer time to admit that to myself. The anger eventually turned into regret and I never really stopped kicking myself for basically telling her to fuck off. Then, in August, I finally got a text from her. She explained that, while what I did was shitty, she was also a bad friend in many respects and that she was sorry for her end. I'd never thought I'd hear from her again, so it was pretty shocking to say the least. I texted her back and told her that I was also sorry, and that I felt we always meant well even if it didn't translate into the real world. I then suggested we build a new bridge, to which she replied that she was open to it but it would take time. We start hanging out again on occasion, and things go a lot more smoothly than the first go-around. We don't fight, we communicate, we have boundaries, and it's great. At the end of October, we're planning another hangout. She asks me if I'm going to a frat party that's taking place that weekend, to which I reply no. She then says that she only really wanted to go because of me anyway and that she'd rather just hang out with me at my house. I suggest that she stay the night so that we can drink together, and she takes me up on it. I felt completely justified in offering that considering that she's a lesbian, no worries of anything happening, and I had a spare bedroom for her to sleep in. She comes over and we start watching movies and drinking. Halfway through one, I comment on how attractive one of the actors in the movie is. She disagrees with me. I tell her that my opinion holds more weight because I'm actually attracted to men, I'm bi. She pauses and then asks, "Do you think I'm a lesbian?" This was a jarring question to say the least. The whole reason behind her not dating me, according to her a year prior, was that she wasn't into guys. I told her as much, and she then said something along the lines of I may have reconsidered. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, I definitely should have taken the hint. Because about 2 hours later, we were making out in my bed. Needless to say, her actions that night were not anticipated. She'd never shown any sexual interest in me before that point and, while we were both drunk, she was just as adamant to continue the next morning when we were sober. We talked about the encounter a few days later and agreed to take things further sometime. And we have. Now, we hang out several times a week and it almost always ends in sex. I want to say that I'm happy. The girl I fell for once, who rejected me and who I regretfully pushed out of my life and never stopped thinking about, has suddenly come back and is regularly sleeping with me. Most dudes can't write a better fantasy. But I'm beginning to think more and more that it's not healthy for me, because I'm falling again and I know that she's not. I've explained to her that I'm open to going on actual dates, and she's told me that she doesn't want to ruin our friendship and that she likes how things are. She thinks she's only attracted to men sexually, not romantically. I'm very conflicted with all of this. On one hand, I really enjoy our friendship. We're in a very good place and we're communicating better than we ever did back then. But the reality is that when I kiss her, I'm kissing someone I love. I'm not sure I can have sex with her and be her friend at the same time. I feel like I'm going to be hurt whether I continue with this or not, and I'm not sure what to do. TL, drive, I've been sleeping with one of my best friends and I don't think it's healthy. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.